All right, we'll give it a few moments. Should be live, but I just like to confirm before I start yapping here. And it is. All right, so I'm joined by Jordan. As always, you can find his stuff fantasyracing.online.com. The links are in the description below if you want to see his projections, if you want to see how he's approaching this race. And I think this is going to be a fun race to break down. I think you can go a lot of different ways. Obviously, the obvious way is expecting Larson to have a very fast car, expecting Truex to have a fast car. But I think there's a lot of ways to get different because when you build a Larson and Truex lineup, you're ending up in a almost a chalkier build than you want to be. Either running with Newman, which personally I think is a bit sketchy. People like Wallace, even people like McDowell, Briscoe, and you're kind of in that range. And I think a lot of people are building lineups very similar to that across the board in cash and GPPs. And so I guess I'll just throw it to you. Like, who's your guy that you're wanting to be different with? Because you were telling me before we went live, like you feel like you want to be a bit different in this race.
Yeah, so coming into the week, coming into the weekend, it was Bell. I wrote up Bell. I've talked about Bell and pretty much all my stuff. I think a lot of people are going to be on Bell, and then the more I started digging into numbers, I really like Alex Bowman tonight. And I think you can pair up, like go full Hendrick, go Larson, Bell, Elliott in a line, and it not be bad, and even go Larson or Bowman. I mean, sorry, Larson, Elliott, Bowman, and then even Larson, Elliott, Bowman, Bell. I think you can fit into a lineup and have it be pretty good. So Bowman's my big guy. I'm kind of on the contrarian strategy tonight. So like the guys in the 7K range, I'm really staying away from. Busher, I don't see the upside in Busher that people are just stuffing him in for him to get 30 to 40% ownership. And I talked about this in my video. I'd rather jump down to someone like Stenhouse, someone like Briscoe, someone like Jones with similar potential. Like a good day out of Busher tonight is 15th. A great day is top 10, and it's probably not going to happen. I would rather take the extra cap and be able to spend up for guys like Bowman, who has Dominator potential, Elliott, Hamlin, and get in that range. But ultimately, I think it comes down to whether you go Larson, Truex in a line or just one of them, because everything points to these two being the best. It's all going to depend whether one of them really dominates it, whether they split the doms, whether there's a third dominator that comes in. DraftKings, I have to give them credit. I don't give them much credit when it comes to salaries. They did a really, really good job of pricing at least the top half of this field this weekend. You really have to make some decisions up there. And of course, they screwed up Newman's price, but that's just another opportunity for me to jump somewhere else if Newman's going to be chalk.
So I find it incredibly interesting that you have gone down the exact same road that I did, where I was pushing Bell. Like for me, it looked like it was like a Truex, Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, Chastain type of build. And I did the exact same thing. Like I was really looking into the lap data from this year and kind of punching holes in my Bell theory. And as I was going through, and I like Bowman as well. But the guy who is almost clicking for me now, or the guy that I kind of like more than I certainly did when I started the week, is Chase Elliott. I'm hesitant on Larson. I know this is the playoffs. I know they're actually going to be showing up now. And Larson had said in some interviews like he had kind of been taking it easy. Obviously, like in Michigan, we saw him lift in late in the race, lose some positions, just basically just trying to get through the race. And I'm worried that we're going to run into a situation where Larson is, just projected to kill the field, which we have done this year. And he might not be the fastest car. He might be the fourth fastest car, the third fastest car. But I think Hendrick as a whole is going to show up here. And who's the other guy who's performed decent at 1.5 miles? And I'm talking about, the last couple this year and last year, who was consistent, and it was Elliott. Like, this is a time where Elliott shows up. And if I like Larson, if I like Byron, why not just take the discount with Elliott? The place differential doesn't bother me at all. I mean, if Larson's starting 6 and that doesn't bother me, Elliott starting 4th doesn't bother me at all. And I think Elliott's going to come in a lot, like way under even people like Kyle Busch, because Kyle Busch was my second projected Dominator. Like it went Truex, Kyle Busch, Larson. Those would be the 3 guys I'd focus on. But and even with Kyle Busch, I'll just take the discount with Bell. I really, really like Bell today.
Yeah.
Or not Bell. I really like Elliott.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, you still like Bell.
I mean, I like
well,
Bell.
though, right?
Yeah, I like Bell too. But I'm really on the Elliott bandwagon right now.
Yeah, at that price, definitely. And I think a lot of people, Darlington's not a great racetrack for Ryan Blaney. So I think a lot of people are going to go to Denny Hamlin there starting second and kind of just forget. Your brain's not going to tell you to put Hamlin and Elliott in the same line, especially if you're hitting Larson or Truex as well with it. So I definitely like the Elliott play. I have a ton of Elliott today, but I think he's going to be higher owned than you think. He always gets a Chase Elliott bump because he's Chase Elliott. A little bit underpriced. I think he's going to come in about 26%. That's about where I have him. So I think it might be a little bit higher than Kyle Busch.
I'm thinking Kyle comes in around 26, and I was thinking Bell comes in around 24. Even if Bell comes in at 28, like that, 28% for 9,200. Like
Elliott. You keep saying Bell.
Oh, I'm scatterbrained because I like them both, but I gotta make sure I'm saying Elliott here. But if he comes in under 30%, I'll be super happy having Elliott.
Yeah. The thing with Bell, I definitely think he has top 5 finishing potential. He would have done it last time if he didn't hit the wall with like 4 laps to go. He has barely any Dominator potential, and that's what kind of scares me at $8,700. Yeah. Yes, I really like him starting 13th, getting up to 5th, but I want that. I like Bowman, I think, is going to put up like at least 20 fastest laps. So that's why another reason I shifted over to Bowman a little bit more than Bell. I still have plenty of Bell, but I definitely landed on Bowman a lot more than I initially planned to tonight.
Yeah, I went in the week liking Joe Gibbs more, and now it's pretty 50-50 on Hendrick and Joe Gibbs being the teams, and so I think all 8 of those drivers can be considered. And if I was entering a lot of lineups, I'd probably make sure I'd have ownership to all 8 of those guys. But I'm with you. Like I would much rather be over the field on Bowman and Elliott right now than being even with the field on Byron and Larson, certainly in the bigger contests.
Yeah. It's definitely, I'm not sure what exactly, like Toyota's won 6 of the last 9 here, should have been 7. So there's always that aspect of it. Like Joe Gibbs Racing's really good here, but you look at similar tracks this year. You look at Dover, you look at Vegas, you look at these steep tracks. Hendrick has been just amazing. Kyle Larson has been amazing. Chase Elliott has been great. Alex Bowman has been great. Byron, I hate Byron's price this week. I don't see the Dominator upside for him to get there, so I don't love it. But yeah. So I like I said, it's between like I think Truex comes in higher owned than Larson, but not by much. And it's just going to come down to who dominates this thing and who's the main Dominator. And
so I know we're staying on Larson and Truex here, although we were like, oh, we're going to talk about guys that we want to get different. From what I'm reading and seeing, I think Larson comes in higher than Truex, and I don't think it's really even. Like I think Larson's maybe 5 or 6% higher owned than Truex. That's how I think it comes in.
You could be right. I mean, I'm going to pull up the last Darlington race here, just for comparison. I think people are going to gravitate a little bit more to Truex just because of the $500 discount, and he starts a little bit further back. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like there's so many people talking up Larson and we've seen it. I swear we've seen this 4 or 5 times this year where everybody's talking up Larson, and then just like the first Darlington race, he came out, he was not good in the first Darlington race. He wasn't good to the last 50 laps of that race. He only put up like 14 fastest laps. Yeah, he finished second, but he was 11-4 in that race, and it didn't pay off. But Truex was 23% owned last time, starting fourth, and he was only 10,300.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I'm not really looking at the first Darlington race a whole lot when it comes to choosing between Larson and Truex. Late in that race, Larson had some fast laps on green flag pit cycles, but I think it was 9 of those 14 fast laps came within the last 30 laps. And I think the finish was much closer than what it really was. Like, I think lap traffic played a ton. I don't think Larson was as close to Truex as it looked. If anything, I think Kyle Busch was the one who was closer to Truex than Larson. And this kind of circles back to how, in my video, I'm really pushing Truex and Kyle Busch, because I think Kyle Busch had the car that could have competed with Truex. And when we look at how Kyle Busch has been performing, like, as of late, I know we've had some road courses. I know we had like Michigan and stuff, but like, Kyle's slowly coming back to form. I don't think he's necessarily needing the practice. Obviously, he's a driver who performs well with the practice, but I think Kyle Busch is circling to contend with how Truex can do in this race.
My only concern with Kyle Busch is he's not good in this package.
And
hasn't been at all. That's that's another. It's just like Byron. I can't get there with the price. It's very difficult for me. If Kyle Busch goes out and wins and dominates this race, I'm gonna have a bad night. I'll tell you that, because I just can't get there. And I'm sticking with my. I woke up and I said, this is my strategy, and I'm not differing much from it. I'm not putting in. I'm not playing a ton like I normally do. I'm playing a decent amount, but I'm just going with what my gut says and hoping it works out. I think Kyle Busch can finish top 5. I don't see the Dominator upside for 10 or 11-2 price.
Mm-hmm. It's it. Let me look at what I have Kyle projected for. Let's see, in my run, because I'm giving him 40 laps led, 22 fast laps throughout this race. And this is more so if more people dominate, because I really believe that this race kind of might boil down to a 1 Dominator, maybe a 2 Dominator type of lineup, which I think, yet again, kind of elevates Christopher Bell, because he doesn't have to do a lot to hit value. Same thing with Elliott. He has to basically just show up and race his normal race to hit value. Same thing with Alex Bowman, I think. And so if you're liking probably more of the 8K guys, since you're not going to the 7K range, are you expecting like a 1 Dominator, 2 Dominator type of race, or what are you seeing?
I think it's going to be. I'm kind of like if I'm going with a Larson, Elliott, Bowman build, I'm hoping for 3 Doms. That's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, I got Elliott with gaining 2 positions, finishing around second or third, 18 laps led, 12 fast laps throughout this 3.5 hour race. So I don't necessarily think, if you're doing that, I don't think you need all 3 of those guys to dominate. If they can just get scraps of the fast laps throughout this race, I think that's perfectly fine. And you're actually probably pushing me more towards Bowman than I was originally intending. But if anything, I'm talking myself out of more of the 10K guys. And I don't think other people are really doing that. Like, all I've heard this entire week is people like Truex, Kyle Busch, Larson, even Denny Hamlin, where I just prefer cheaper guys.
Yeah, I don't see my problem with Hamlin is, like, he doesn't go out there and dominate races. He's not a Truex. He's not a Larson. So him starting second, yeah, he can get the lead, and he can lead. If he leads 100 laps, it's gonna pay off. But if he's gonna be coming that 25 to 30% ownership at 9,500, I'd rather be on Elliott or Bowman or Bell. than Hamlin. I just don't see the upside. Plus, I jinxed him this week by betting on him outright. So,
honestly, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit's real. Like, I didn't believe you when I first started talking to you about that, but that is 100% real. Jordan Jinx is real. I'll swear on my unborn child that's real, man.
It's even worse in Xfinity. Like, if you really want to see that thing do some damage, Xfinity. I don't think I've had a single lineup this year in Xfinity that has had all 6 drivers finish.
Yeah,
that's saying something.
Brandon Jones bet, man, that was hilarious.
Yep.
It was wild. Okay, so if we're not really touching the 7K range, but what do you think of this 6K range? Because I'm worried, and we'll throw the 7K in. We'll throw from Chastain down. So you got Chastain, Suarez, Custer, Almirola, Stenhouse, Priest, all those guys.
Well, what are your thoughts on Buescher and DiBenedetto? Because I think there's going to be a lot of people that just throw them in, and just because I don't know what you are on it, I know I'm not heavy on Buescher, but if I don't think we can just skip over that because people are going to be like, well, why didn't they even talk about Chris Buescher? Starting 34th, and all the stats say Chris Buescher is going to be a great play tonight.
So I want to throw Newman into this as well. I know I know he's a lot cheaper, but I think Newman doesn't perform as well as he has been here. And this is going to go back to Buescher and Matt DiBenedetto. But when you look at Newman and how he used to run, and I know his last 4 races, 14th, 15th, 15th, and 10th. But Newman has just been abysmal lately in terms of speed. His finishes have been a bit better. He finished 10th at Indy, 4th at Daytona. But outside of that, from where he's running to where his finishes are, like his race ratings are like in the 20s, like 22nd, 23rd, 24th. His last good run was all the way back in Nashville, and that's 19th. If you look at Charlotte, he was running 12th, 13th when he blew the tire. Okay, that's fine. Kansas, 15th race rating. After that, like, I don't see it from Newman today, and I also don't see it from Chris Buescher in terms of getting into the optimal. I have Chris Buescher getting a 5x value. I have him at 40.35 points tonight, so that's 5.1. But I don't think he's optimal. And same thing with DiBenedetto. I think I'd rather play DiBenedetto for the price discount if you have that left over and you need to upgrade at a driver, but I'm just not on these guys. Now, however, I think they do work if Jones shits the bed, if Briscoe doesn't show up, if Custer doesn't show up. And we've seen Custer, same thing with Newman, he's been off pace. Like if these guys don't show up, then that would make DiBenedetto and Buescher work. But I'm really, really worried, and seeing their ownership like that really, really scares me.
Yeah, Newman, like, and I made this comparison in my video the other night. I said I would rather have Corey LaJoie finish 22nd than Ryan Newman finish 23rd, flip their ownerships, and have that leverage in case Newman pulls a Newman that we've seen the last 2 months and runs 28th. Because LaJoie is running well, 1 and 2. He finished 22nd here last time. There's no reason he can't do that again. If I'm down in that range, there's a lot of my lineups I'm not even getting down to Newman. The lowest I'm going is Jones or Briscoe.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to take this off because we're not seeing much. I'll put it back up if I need it. But so my projections like Briscoe. I got Briscoe at 34.25. He's my best play there. I'm worried that he doesn't perform well here. Like I'm worried that Cole Custer gets stuck running 26 today, and I believe Briscoe and Custer are running very similar type of setups, and so typically when one performs bad or one gets stuck outside the top 20, both of them do, and that's my main concern. But I think if Briscoe can show up, he can work his way to 18th, 19th fairly easily. Man, this range is so scary. Even Stenhouse too.
One good thing about Briscoe is looking at high wear tracks this year: 18th at Homestead, 11th at Darlington, 15th in the second Atlanta race. His worst finish is 23rd in the first Atlanta race. Like, obviously it's Stuart Haas. You never really know what to expect, but they're better in this 750 package. And Chase Briscoe has been very good, comparatively speaking, on high wear tracks. So I understand if there's concern, but I don't think I'd let that affect me too much.
Yeah, if they perform like they did at Nashville, I'm not worried. And I'm hoping that it is the package that they do well in. But Briscoe's probably my favorite play there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Stenhouse? Because I can't love him. You do.
Yep.
Okay.
13th at Homestead, 20th at Darlington, 12th at Atlanta. You look at the 750 package, 0 finishes outside the top 20. Mm-hmm. For Stenhouse, that's solid. I think he can finish mid-teens, and I think he has like the same finishing potential as Chris Buescher at $1,000 less. So I'm going to take that all day. The guy that I'm, and you mentioned him, was Custer. I don't know. I don't have a lot of Custer. And that might bite me, but I can't trust Cole Custer.
So the pairs that were popping off when I was building lines it was Custer and Stenhouse, or Briscoe and Custer, or Briscoe and Stenhouse. And I think those are the guys that you need to get to in the 6K range. I also think that I'm not alone putting those guys together. And so I'm a bit worried. I think I'm getting different enough with the Dominators, but I'm a bit worried. Like, if you're playing a Larson and Truex line and you end up with, Stenhouse and Chase Briscoe, I think that is a really, really chalky line that I would be hesitant to play in like the 16 today. But
what do you think about Eric Jones?
I hate him. I hate that play.
Do you?
I can't. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. What is he going to get me? 4 place differential plays? Like, I got him for 28 points. Like, I'm not even looking at Jones at all. So
I love Jones.
Talk me. I think you're higher.
He's so good here. He was running top 15 here last time. I think he had to pit.
But like, where's he at here?
If it gets me off of Newman, or I can pivot off of Briscoe, or combine him with Briscoe,
I would rather play Wallace. I think Wallace outscores Jones by 1 or 2 points.
I don't know about that. I always have a soft spot for Eric Jones. He's won me a lot of money at this racetrack, so I'll take that. Are you looking at the comments over here?
I'm getting back to them, so let me see.
Okay. Yeah. Larson wasn't in the optimal the first Darlington race. He was in the top lineup, but he wasn't in the optimal.
Mm-hmm. So how wasn't he worth it? Well, so when we're looking at this, since Truex killed the field, Larson had to do so little to hit, the value that he did. I don't have the points up right now, but since Truex basically dominated the race, it just fell to the second driver who had the most amount of points, and that ended up being Larson. And the way that the race played out, because there was only one Dominator, you could just play value and then have the 2 highest scoring drivers. That's why Larson was in the highest scoring lineup of the day, but he wasn't technically optimal. Just nobody played the optimal that day.
Yeah, he started 14th, so that was a big reason why his ownership went so high.
So I'm still worried about Suarez as well. It's almost, when you get back to that 7K range of where's he at? Of, Buescher to Benedetto, Chastain, Suarez. Chastain's really the only guy I want to get there. And a lot of builds end up going to either Suarez or Custer, just based on what you have left. And I would almost rather pay down at the value range and try and pay up for a more expensive lap leader than going to Suarez. But that's just me.
I think Chastain definitely has higher upside. Suarez is just they're running like junk right now. So
Mhm.
I think for me, it's a lot of recency bias. Like he hasn't done anything lately, and he's been pretty inconsistent. Like 15th at Homestead, that's his best high wear finish. He did finish 9th at Dover, 7th at Nashville. I just think there's more upside with Chastain, or more. It's safer. It's as weird as it sounds to say with
Mhm.
Chastain, it's safer to go Chastain over Suarez.
I think Chastain shows up today and finishes 15th, 14th, where he should have finished in the first race. That's where his car was. They just made that dumbass decision to stay out and got trap laps down because of it. But if you
Yeah.
look at his lap speed, he was a top 15 driver.
Oh yeah. He could have. Yeah, if they weren't dealing with the ramifications of that strategy, I think he could have like legitimately challenged top 10.
Yeah. And so I think Chastain repeats that. And Chip Ganassi's they're doing well, oddly enough, when they finally get sold. They finally show up for
Ever since Charlotte, when Hendrick screwed them with those engines, they've been top notch ever since. So that brings up someone else, Kurt Busch, outside Dominator.
Oh my god, I'm so worried about him. So this goes back to we had some Elliott questions. I don't think Elliott stays out front. I think the competition caution hurts people like Blaney, Hamlin, and Kurt, and just helps the guys starting farther back to get up there. And I'm if I'm personally not playing Elliott, I don't like him as a play, and because of that, I certainly don't like Kurt Busch. If he happens to go out there and lead, I think that's more so them showing up with the setup that we don't have a ton of data to reflect. Like obviously he won Atlanta, but last year we had Austin Dillon show up at Richmond, stupid fast, never really could replicate that. I I got to go through a lot of situations to get to a situation where Kurt Busch ends up leading a lot of this race, or at least like the first stage or something. Like a lot of things have to go his way in order to do that, and I'm not going to get there.
Did you say? I thought you liked Chase Elliott today. Did you misspeak there?
Did I misspeak again? Maybe I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole rant on Kurt Busch. Sorry, I'm
Yeah, because
looking
I
at
think
projections and stuff. Yeah.
I think the competition caution helps Elliott a lot because
Yeah.
his pit crew's been so fast this year, and Larson for that
Mhm.
matter.
Yeah, I like the competition. Like the way that I see the race starting is, whoever starts on the outside lane is going to probably lead up until the competition caution. So that's most likely going to be Blaney, and then I think whoever that is ends up losing the lead on pit road to one of the Hendrick guys. So I guess I could have just said that.
Yeah, it's going to be that's something we haven't talked about is that repave and how it's going to be even more difficult to pass now.
Yeah, this is just a one groove racetrack, even more so now. And
Does
with
that
these
make you like Blaney a little bit more?
I have Blaney for 20 laps led and 8 fast laps right now. That's like 43 points. I think he gets passed late in this, or not late in this race, but I think he falls back to 6th, 7th, 8th. And this is one of Blaney's worst tracks. I think that's more of a driver thing. I don't think that's necessarily the setup side. I just don't think this type of track suits Ryan Blaney. And so I'm not on Blaney either.
He also tends to struggle at night.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not as good at night for whatever reason.
Yeah, Blaney, Hamlin, and Kurt all worry me. That's almost why I like Elliott more, because Elliott starting fourth, so he'll be on the outside regardless. If the inside lane really is trash here, well then it might be just Hamlin and Elliott being the first two guys before the competition caution here. And so that's kind of why I'm going back to Elliott over Larson, because if it is difficult to pass here, it might just end up being the Hendrick car who's able to be out in front the whole time, even if they don't have the fastest car.
I don't think we're going to see that. I think the fastest car is still going to be able to get, like, I don't think it's going to be impossible to pass, but I could certainly be wrong.
I think it's
I just
really,
I love how they repaved this damn track, and it was like 2 weeks ago, and they're like, "Hey, we're repaving it." Everyone's like, "Okay, great, first playoff race, let's do it."
yeah, and then it's not even leveled correctly. Like there's huge
Yeah.
divots. Like who's higher? Is it Speedway Corporation? Who owns Darling? Whoever that is, like, who are you guys hiring? Like, I know there's construction companies out there who can level the damn different pavements. Like, there's no reason there should be a dip entering the new pavement and then a jump exiting it. Like, this is just it's so dumb. Going back to why I think it's difficult to pass, not only, is this a one groove racetrack, but like, yet again, for whatever reason, I know you retweeted and I've said it before, like, the Cup Series should be running the Xfinity Series cars. Like, that would be good racing. But you can't make contact in these cars that the Cup Series are in. If you tag the wall, if you hit anything, you're blowing a tire, and so you can't be as aggressive, and you can't make those passes, and that's why I think a slow car might end up still being the leader unless he gets past, going through lap traffic. But I just think it's going to be difficult to pass tonight.
We go back to last year's Southern 500 when Truex and Elliott took each other out. I didn't think either of them made extreme amount of contact with the wall, and they both had to pit. Like,
yeah,
it's just you touch the wall and you're, yeah. Austin Dillon's to the rear. It doesn't change anything though. Yeah. Scored from 21st.
And I think last year I had both Elliott and Truex. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I did. So
I did. I went all in on my biggest bet that weekend was Truex top 5 plus 125, and then, I was all in on both of them on DFS, and I'm just sitting there watching it, like, watch them take each other out, and then literally two laps later, they're both in the wall, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
I think the only saving grace is that this is the first playoff race, and nobody wants to be in a hole right off the bat. Although a lot of people are pretty much guaranteed in the next round with their playoff points from the stages, but I think we're going to see a calmer race, and I don't think we're going to see any yellows. Like, I don't think we're going to see many wrecks at all. So that's just me.
Can never count out the Cody Ware spin or.
Yeah, but they'll be so far down. Hopefully NASCAR just keeps it. Oh no, they did that last time. One of these, I forgot who it was. I'm pretty sure Rick Ware car spun on the apron and they kept it green because he made it to pit road, because they don't care about those guys, man.
Oh. Do you think, speaking of the Wares and Hamlin getting wared yesterday in the Xfinity race, do you think, how much of an advantage do you think that was for Hamlin to go out there on this track, if any? Even Austin Dillon and Reddick. I know it's going to be made, like Rick Allen, that's all he's going to talk about, because he can't talk about his girlfriend leaving him.
Rick Allen can't talk about anything that isn't being made on the teleprompter for him. But I don't think that's really much of an advantage at all. This race is 3.5 hours long, probably 4. And these drivers have gotten better at not practicing and knowing that, they might be a bit sketchy in the first corner. I don't think it's much of an advantage. Maybe no, I don't think it's an advantage at all.
Speaking of that, that's another reason I like Briscoe. That just reminded me. Second time around, he's already got time on this track. He said earlier this year he spends the first half of races trying to figure this car out. You don't need to do that this weekend.
Yeah. Which is so. That's another reason why I like Kyle Busch. I know they ran earlier in the year when it was during the day, but I think they're bringing that same setup back. That's why I think Hendrick and Joe Gibbs are the strongest cars, because I think they're going to build off of what they ran here last time.
Yeah.
Let me see. How likely do you think that this race, or the optimal lineup, is Larson and Truex.
I'd say like 40%. It's really hard for me not to see it, especially because of how you can build. For it not to be, I think it's going to take a lot of the chalk place differential wrecking, because it's so easy to build Truex Larson and then hit Buescher Stenhouse in that range. But if that's all it takes for like that not to be the optimal, that's another reason that I'm getting off of Buescher and going up. I still like, it's hard for me to get off these builds where I can get 4 guys that can finish top 5 in them and not go Larson Truex. I still have, I mean, my optimal projected lineup tonight is Larson Truex.
Mine is as well.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm talking myself out of it, trying to get 2 different. But I think if one of them fails, I think it's Larson. I think he has the highest likelihood too, because I think Truex can work with just his place differential. So I think if I had to fade one of those guys, it'd probably be Larson.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I can't make a call there because these two are just so good. They're so good in this package. They're so good on high wear tracks. It's the playoffs now. Yeah, it's tough. It's super tough. I will note that so from 2016 to 2018, those 3 races, Larson had between 27 and 75 fastest laps every single time. And that's back when it was the 750 package again. So taking, 2019 through 2020 out.
Yeah. I guess this is more game theory talk, because even my optimal or high scoring lineups are representing this based on my projections. But I think there's a chance that it's Larson, Truex, and Newman in the optimal or in really high scoring lineups. And then the other builds that go with those 3 guys, or even if you take Newman out and swap him in and out with the other value, Briscoe, Custer, like once you like visualize like 14 lineups built around those guys, like they're all very similar constructions. And I'm not saying like, oh, this is a super, super chalk fest. But if it does end up going Larson and Truex, I think there's going to be a lot of splitting in some of the contests. And so that's another concern. Because if I play Larson and Truex, I think I'm damned because it's going to be split. If I don't play him and then it does go that way, well, then I lose anyway. And so I'll probably not play Larson tonight just due to that.
Sorry, I was looking over at the comments. It's always fun trying to make a case against Kyle Larson. Like it's I will note, okay, looking at the 750 package, he was great at Dover and he was great at Nashville. Everything else he disappointed. High wear tracks, he was only good at Atlanta 1 as far as Dominator potential. When you got a guy that's 11,500 and he's not starting 15th, you need the Dominator points. He 18 fastest laps at Homestead, which was his best track, 11 at Darlington, 7 at Atlanta 2. Take out the first Atlanta race, and Larson's average at best when it comes to Dominator on high wear this year. So that's my only case I can make against Kyle Larson. I think he's my highest projected tonight. Nope, Truex is. But Larson's right up there as well.
Yeah, mine is Truex Larson, and I know somebody's going to tune in. Like, we're not saying don't play Larson. but we're just we're I mean, you got to do your research, or you got to find, anything that leans against that, because you have to. I hate to be like, oh, I'm fading Larson. Like, I understand the data points to Larson dominating this race, but I'm just trying to find different things, and so I think Larson performs well today. I have Truex winning the race. I have Larson finishing second again.
Do you ever go back, like, on a week like this, and like all the data, all your projections, everything's saying play Kyle Larson, play Martin Truex Jr. in the same lineup, and then you spend the whole day telling yourself not to do it?
Oh yeah.
And then when it's the optimal, you come back and you're like, I literally just made the whole case. Everything said to do it, and I do that all the time. I did it at Richmond this year with Truex and Hamlin.
And that's why I like offering projections, because my projections show that it should be Larson Truex. If I don't play that, hey, at least the things that I give out said to play that,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I wrote up, like, as far as a cash lineup, I'm doing Larson Truex in the same line if I'm playing cash.
Yeah.
So that was a good disclaimer. Like, we're not saying Larson sucks by any means. We think he can win this race. We think he can dominate the hell out of it. But strategy DFS wise, especially like single entry, there's room there, and that there's upside there to only go with one of them, especially in single entry.
Yeah, I think if you're playing single entry, you certainly always fade usually the highest projected owned driver, just to get that leverage. I think it's worth that, because usually single entry, the highest owned driver is usually like 10, even sometimes 12% higher owned than he is in like the main big GPP, just because people are not necessarily throwing in cash lineups, but they're like playing the even safer lineups in single entries. And so if I'm pretty much in any single entry, I'm always just fading, whoever the highest owned driver is, or just trying to make one play that just gets crazy out there.
Put up that comment about Bell. So I think we're on the same page here. I think Bell goes higher owned today than most people expect, because so many people are talking him up. And yeah.
And he's so easy to get in lines. So Larson, Truex, Bell, easy to make. Throw Newman in there, you're in chalk territory.
That's my projected optimal is Larson, Truex, Bell.
Throw in Chastain on there, and you're getting close to what mine is. So
like, speaking of Bell, I'm kind of leveraging against myself now. I'm lowering my exposure a little bit DFS, because I'm so heavy on him in betting. DraftKings had him at -170 for a top 20. And I was expecting them to avoid it, because I thought it was a misprice. They didn't. So I'll take that and kind of leverage here in DFS. Yeah, we didn't talk about Reddick. Let's throw him up there.
So let's see. Today I got Reddick projected for 33 points. So
33.5. We're right there.
Okay, see, like, that always makes me feel better. I don't just want to give out projections, but I like knowing what other people project him at, so I don't feel like an idiot.
I don't like him at that price, and I don't see the upside. Like, I get why people like the upside of Tyler Reddick, but here's the thing: his stats have never backed up that upside when he doesn't have place differential. He doesn't get fastest laps. He had 11 here last time. He had 1 at Homestead, and he finished second. He had 4 at Atlanta, 7 at Atlanta too. Like, upside's not there for an $8,000 driver starting 7th. That probably, I mean, we saw this last race at Darlington. He faded as the race went on. And even, I don't think he even gets there if he finishes, like 6th. Like, so yeah, I don't see the upside for Reddick.
Yeah, I think the argument for him is the same as Kurt Busch. Like, you need a lot of guys who are projected to do well to not do well, not necessarily crash, but just not take over or lead in this race. Let me think. What else haven't we talked about here?
We haven't touched the Keselowski and Logano.
I don't think they win this race. I don't think they lead laps. So if I whiff on that, I guess I whiff on that. But I don't see it. What are you seeing from them? Because I don't see it.
I think Logano could sneak in like a top 5. I think Keselowski can sneak in like a top 8 and get 15 fastest laps. Logano, I think he's like maxed out at like 5 fastest laps. I don't see either of them leading. So at 10-4 and 10-1 on DraftKings, I'm just not. It's not there. I'm waiting for next week to be heavy on Penske. That'll be my slamming Keselowski and Logano.
Slamming Penske week.
Yeah, bring up that
for sure. Yeah,
Matthews comment.
See, this is a good question. I like questions like this.
Yes.
So let's see. Where do I got? I got LaJoy for 27 points. I got Newman for 28. They're both 4.9 values for me. I didn't need to get that low in pricing, so I would try to get off them. Personally, I would rebuild to not get that low. I don't like those two guys, but that's what I got those guys projected for.
Yeah, so my projections have Newman 26 and LaJoy at 14, but I think LaJoy has significantly higher upside than that. If you're stuck down there, which again, a lot of my lineups, I'm not going down there. I would rather have LaJoy finish 22nd than have Newman finish 23rd. So I think Newman's going to be about 40% owned and LaJoy's going to get about 15%. So if I'm mass multi-entering, I'm flipping those. I'm going 40%, or probably not 40%, but probably like 30% LaJoy and 12 to 15% Newman, just to get that leverage, because it's Ryan Newman, and nothing good ever happens with Ryan Newman chalk this year. So
he needs to. I don't say this about a lot of drivers, but I really do think Newman needs to retire after this year.
Agreed. If he doesn't, it's like, what are you doing? Does the playoffs affect the place differential plays? Like the fact that all the playoff cars have an extra 50 horsepower, or what?
So I think he means at least I'm assuming that he means like the lower guys like McDowell, Reddick. And I mentioned this on Thursday. That actually worries me. If you're the 16th, 15th, 14th, 13th place driver in the playoffs, Harvick, I think they're content. They're going to get through to the next round anyway. But like McDowell, I expect McDowell, if there's a caution at late in the stage, he's going to stay out to get those stage points because he needs them. And so that would worry me about McDowell. That would worry me about Reddick, because they have to do almost stupid things to get stage points. And I think that hurts them, late in the race for their finishing positions. So that's my only thing I want to point out there. Like, it's not like, fade McDowell because he's a bad driver in the playoffs, but it worries me that if there's a situation to where those guys are going to do that, they're going to do that.
I think there's less of a chance at Darlington, but at the same time, we saw Chastain try to do it. So yeah, I could see McDowell doing it more than Reddick, but yeah, that's stuff that we now have to consider. And even with like Eric Almirola, he could easily pull that crap as well. Any of these guys that are pretty much locks to not make it to the next round, especially next week and at Bristol, they're going to do stupid stuff. It's because they have to.
Yeah. So I want to mention Almirola real quick. He was popping off. So him and Chase were the two guys, when I ran the entire field, they were popping off more than I thought they would in terms of lineups. What do you think about Eric Almirola? Like, I think he finishes in the top 12, but I just think he gets outscored by other guys in the 7K range. I know we're not really playing the 7K range at all, but Almirola is interesting.
Sell me on Almirola.
let's say he finishes where he starts. It's 36 points. That's 5-1 value. I think that's a ceiling. Out people like Stenhouse. If Stenhouse doesn't perform, even a lot of the 6K guys. I don't think it's likely, but that would be the argument I'd make for Camarola.
I know I completely like I don't think I have any Almirola today, to be honest with you. Let me check. Yeah, I don't. So my main concern is he was only good when they were running the 550 here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was last year when he was just stupid, like his best season ever. But last 3 races in the 750 package, he won at Loudon, 4th at Nashville, 6th at Richmond. Do those compare extremely well to Darlington? No. I think like on a good day, he's like 14th.
Mm-hmm.
So even as a tournament play, I don't like it. I could be wrong. I've kind of written off Almirola for most of this year outside of, flat tracks because he's so good at them.
Yeah. I'm like my base projections have him for 12. But
I'd consider him more if he was 6,000 instead of 7,000.
Yeah, I wish he was like 6'6" or something. Guess we answer. ACSs. So personally, I think it goes. I got to bring up the pricing because I don't. I got to bring up the pricing real quick. I think it goes Larson.
What are the tiers?
Like when you break down like the 10K range, 11K range, 9K range, or like expensive guys like, or Dominator range, value range, and so I would say that it's probably Larson in the 10s. It's probably Hamlin in the 9s, probably Bell in the 8s, Busher in the 7s, and probably Jones in the 6s. Or Newman. The Newman's 5'7", but that's what I would answer that with.
Yeah, I'm close. Truex, I think Truex Larson are going to be about the same, about 40%. In the 9,000, I think Elliott's going to get more ownership than Hamlin, but they're going to be top 2. 8,000 range, it's going to be Bell. 7,000 range will be Busher. 6,000, I think Stenhouse gets it. And then Newman. I think Newman's going to be like almost, if not higher than Larson and Truex. I think everybody's going to land on Newman tonight, which scares me.
Yeah, I would. Well, screw the fading Larson. Just if you're playing Truex and Larson together, don't play Newman. Yeah, that's the main takeaway. Let's see. Let's see. That's kind of why Jordan made the joke, because we typically see the playoff guys like be the 1st through 16th place guys in these races, at least in the playoffs. But which is, I wish they go back to a regular, or to their like a 12-car chase for 10 weeks or just a season long, because this playoff stuff is just dumb.
I like it.
Okay, well, come on, we gotta. Why do you like this? This is ruining racing.
No, it's not. Why is it ruining racing?
You just like, it's great for TV because you have guys wrecking each other every week late in the playoffs. But this, like, who has won a championship the last 4 years who's deserved it? No one.
Chase Elliott had the best green flag speed all year last year. He ranked the best in green flag speed all year. He was the fastest car all year.
You're telling me Harvick didn't deserve it?
I'm saying Chase Elliott had the fastest car all year last year. And Larson has the fastest car all year last year. The system's broke if Larson doesn't win it this year.
Like, he's not going to win it this year. He's not.
You don't think he's going to win
No,
it?
no, there's no way in hell Larson wins the championship this year.
How?
It's same thing that happens to Harvick last year. Like,
you're saying he doesn't even make it to.
I don't think he makes the championship four. I don't think he even wrecks. I just think other guys perform and he doesn't get a win and doesn't make it in. And then they're going to be like, oh, what's wrong with this? But like, I don't think Larson doesn't win the championship. He should. Everybody says he deserved it. Last year, everybody agreed that Harvick should have won it. And even Kyle Busch, when Kyle Busch won, like, you're telling me this dude broke his leg, misses half of the year, and he wins the championship? Like, that's not right. That's
5 wins, missing half the year. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah, he didn't race half the season.
That is it. Steve, you're right. It's a flaming hot take for Larson not to get to Phoenix.
It's not wrong. He's not going to get to Phoenix. I don't think it's just Chase. Chase is the only Hendrick car who's going to get in there. It's going to be Chase, 2 Joe Gibbs guys, and probably a Penske car.
What?
Yeah.
No way. There's no way.
Way off rails here, but there's no fucking way Larson wins his championship. He should, but he's not going to.
Oh man. Yeah. I disagree. I definitely disagree that he doesn't get to Phoenix. I think Larson's a pretty much shoe-in to get to Phoenix, but I think it's gonna be two Hendrick and 2 Gibbs. I don't think a Penske guy's gonna get in there.
Yeah,
because really you're really banking on Logano, I think, because I don't think Blaney even gets out of this round.
I don't know, man. Elliott's gonna be a 3-time champion in no time at all. Just how it's gonna be.
I will admit this format sucks if they switch things around to have like 4 road courses in the final 10, and then it's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna have the championship race at Watkins Glen. Here you go, Chase.
Yeah, we're gonna do it at Charlotte Roval.
Indy road course may or may not have the curb. We're not sure yet. We'll let you know the day of.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Well, I mean, you guys can come back to me when Larson. Well, then again, I make dumb. I put out pretty dumb takes left and right, but I don't think Larson wins this championship, and I really don't think he makes it to the championship 4. He probably ends up winning that race too.
Yeah, that's man. We'll see. You think he gets to round 3 though, right?
That's not equivalent. Bubba's still going to get fired. He's not performing at all.
You think Bubba's getting fired? Come on.
Yeah, but dude, he sucks.
Michael Jordan is a businessman, and Jordan Fish is about to take half of Denny Hamlin's money.
But how is he a good businessman? All he does is gamble his money away, and any business adventure Jordan gets into is just a disaster. Like,
yeah. Yet he's a billionaire.
I mean, he's got more money than he knows what to do with. Yeah, but it's not like he got there.
Don't knock gamblers. Come on.
I'm not knocking him. I'm knocking Jordan. He's not a businessman.
Like I said, though, Hamlin's going to need the money because Jordan Fish is taking it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're not married, so she doesn't get any of it.
She'll get some of it for child support.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
So those kids are 18.
Oh, man, he should have lived in Texas. He could have got that squared away before.
We're not allowed to talk about this, though. Chris Knight got really mad on Twitter last night about this. Someone asked him about it.
I personally, I don't see the problem in not spreading false rumors, but asking, hey, what happened here? I don't know. I heard this or that. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact. Yeah.
I find it funny that the media won't touch this, but they were all over when Kurt Busch was accused of domestic violence. They didn't have any problem spreading that shit.
They didn't let him race.
Which was false.
Yeah. Which it's dumb, man. Or even back with Stewart. I know Stewart took his leave, but he literally killed a man, and nobody says that. Like, I mean, talk about double standards.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get the Hamlin love either. It's one thing
He's an
I'll never
asshole. But that's about. I mean, we're way off the.
Yeah, we're off the beaten path here.
I love you, Taco. Yeah, check out Taco stuff at DFS Army, by the way. I wish he still did the Fast 40. I was talking to him the other day about that, but or at least where other people could listen to it.
Hey,
but yeah,
Austin Dillon's the only guy going to the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then if anybody makes unimproved adjustments.
Mm-hmm. And okay, I guess I should answer that because I know I'll get a question. If somebody up front goes to the rear, I'm most likely not playing them because it's so hard to pass here. So if Elliott goes to the rear, if Larson goes to the rear, if Hamlin goes to the rear, I would remove them from your player pool. Not even lower. I would just not play them, but that's just me.
I don't know. I'm hoping there's no last second changes because I'm pretty locked in with my what I'm doing today.
Yeah. Hopefully this race goes green.
This for the first time I think since we've done this, you haven't convinced me to get off or on anybody more or less than I was.
Yeah.
Which is the only guy that had me double take was Eric Almirola. But I can't do that. I'm rolling Stenhouse and I'm hating it.
I hate it too, man. I'm with you. I got Stenhouse in my line.
Without Newman or LaJoy, how do you get to 3 Dominators? See that one?
Yeah, it's and thank you for the super chat, Chandler. Best of luck to you today as well. I think if you're wanting Dominators, you're doing people like Blaney, Bell, Bowman, and Elliott. If you're trying to get 3 and you're not paying up for that. Yeah, that's fine. That's my sense of humor, Wes. I love you, man.
That's good. It's very easy to get to 3 Dominators without Newman or LaJoy because there's Chase Elliott, there's Alex Bowman, there's Ryan Blaney, there's Denny Hamlin that are all under 10K. So yeah, you can definitely do it. It's not difficult.
Yeah. And I believe you can go to Jordan's website in the description. You can check out his optimal and his algorithm projected finishing positions.
Optimals are posted. It's about halfway down the article. I would say it, but I want the click. Go check it out.
Yeah. All right. I think that's about it. I wish all the super chats were coming in an hour ago before we were having to call it a day. I'm still waiting for the YouTube money to send it to you because YouTube takes 2 months to send money.
Oh yeah, you're good.
But
anyone in the 4K? No, we're not punting tonight, are we?
Nah, no way, man.
You can't. Even Quinn Houff, they priced him up.
They showed respect to my boy Quinn. They finally bumped him up. Too much.
The week after he no longer has a ride next year.
Yeah,
that news breaks.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're probably gonna end it there because we'll just end up talking another half hour about useless nonsense. So thank you guys for tuning in. As I said, you can go to Jordan's website. It's the second link in the description. Then you can go to my Patreon if you want to support me because it's the beginning of the month. And yes, I'm going to record it tomorrow. I'll be doing another Cruise Control episode this week because people love my rants, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad. That just inflates my ego.
Yes, but, keep them coming.
Yeah. So best of luck tonight, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the day off tomorrow, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Yep. Good luck.